And anyone who would like to disagree with that can go and look for it in the dictionary. It is there. It's an archangel. We want to welcome yourself, Mr. President, this afternoon. We also want to welcome the Premier of KwaZulu-Natal, the Honorable A.T. Ntuli. We also want to welcome ministers who are here in our midst. Minister Hlabisa of Kokta, Minister Smelane of Human Settlement, Minister Tilele of Tourism, Minister Pemi Machodina of Water and Sanitation, Minister Smelane of Human Settlement, Professor Kachalia of Police. We also want to welcome Deputy Ministers who are also here. Deputy Ministers Kodlimpi of Trade and Industry, Deputy Minister Hlengwa of Transport, Deputy Minister Mahlobo of Water and Sanitation. We also want to welcome MECs who are also in our midst. We welcome MEC Duma of Transport and Human Settlement, MEC Buthelezi of Kokta. We also wish to welcome the mayor of this city, beautiful city of Ethekwini, whom we are here to be able to work with yourself, your worship, Councillor Cyril Ramaphosa. We also want to welcome leaders in government, in business. We want to welcome the President of the Chamber, Ashin Maji. We want to welcome the Chair of the Growth Coalition, Moses Tembe, the CEOs of the various organizations that are here. Of course, we must welcome the DG, Director General in the Presidency, who is the co-chair of the Presidential Ethekwini Working Group. And by extension, we welcome each and every one of you, ladies and gentlemen. If I have not mentioned you by name, you must know that I've mentioned you even if I did not call your name. The angel has called your name, even if I may not have pronounced it myself. So we would like then to begin with the proceedings this afternoon, being mindful of the time, and indeed we are feeling the warmth and the love of His Excellency the President, who has taken time off to come and join us. And without any further delay, I will then invite His Worship the Mayor, Councillor Cyril Ramaphosa, to come and to give us a word of welcome. Indeed, Councillor Ramaphosa, uneyivakashi eziphezulu namhla, kusho ukuthi uhlabile. Kusina ngolethole. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Program Director, the co-chair of the Presidential Working Group, Mr. Mike Mwebekulu, the President of the Republic of South Africa, His Excellency Cyril Ramaphosa, ministers, deputy ministers, the Premier of the province of KwaZulu-Natal, Honorable Tammy Ntuli, leaders from business, from the different sectors, government, and etc. To save time, let me rise on the protocols you have established, Ndiema. Good afternoon. On behalf of the people of Ethekwini, it gives us great pleasure to extend a warm welcome to you all. We convey our sincere gratitude to the President for his continued support and for bringing together all spheres of government and business leaders to strengthen our capacity to unlock the economic potential of our city and improve the service delivery of essential services to our communities. The collaboration between all spheres of government is significant, as it demonstrates our shared commitment to providing quality services to all citizens of this country. It further reflects on our collective resolve to improve the lives of the people of South Africa by restoring dignity and instilling hope for a brighter future. We are proud that Ethekwini continues to serve as a model of cooperation through the Presidential Ethekwini Working Group, showcasing how government and business sector can work together to build a better future. Since the launch of the Presidential Ethekwini Working Group in 2024, we have unlocked several investment opportunities. It is no coincidence that this initiative was introduced here in Durban. It underscores the strategic importance of the city in South Africa's broader objective of attracting investment and driving economic growth. With the Port of Durban being the largest and busiest container terminal in Africa and the Southern Hemisphere, our city serves as a gateway to the continent, particularly the Southern African region. However, we recognize that without improved efficiency and adequate capacity within the port, we will not achieve the transformation required to position Durban as a world-class port city. We are encouraged by the collaboration between the city and Transnet port terminals to improve efficiency and ease congestion at the port. This partnership is already yielding positive results. We are beginning to see smoother movement of goods between KwaZulu-Natal, Gauteng, the Free State, and the broader Southern Africa region. At the same time, we continue to attract investments worth billions of rands across various sectors. Our tourism sector is steadily returning to pre-COVID-19 growth levels, as evidenced by the strong visitor numbers during the festive season. Honorable President, we reaffirm our commitment as the leadership of the city to contribute meaningfully to the noble goal of building a just, equal, and prosperous society. We do so fully aware of the critical role our city plays as an economic driver within the province and beyond. And the only metropolitan city in KZN, we attract people from across the continent who seek better employment opportunities and an improved quality of life. With these remarks, it is my honor to welcome our distinguished guest, the President of the Republic of South Africa, Honorable Cyril Ramaphosa. Since assuming office, you have played an instrumental role in supporting the city's renewal and recovery. Through your leadership and guidance, our city is steadily moving onto a positive growth trajectory. Without further ado, Mr. President, Program Director, let me thank you for giving me your attention. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Your Worship. Let's give His Worship a big round of applause. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here because His Excellency the President decided to establish the Presidential Ethekwini Working Group almost 2 years ago. In November of 2024, we had a report back session. Today, it is another session. And who else can take us through his own ideas about why he decided to establish this Ethekwini Presidential Working Group is no other than His Excellency, the President himself. I have the honor, therefore, to invite His Excellency, the President, to come and make his opening remarks. May we all welcome the President as he comes to the podium.
Thank you. Let's be seated, please. Thank you very much, Program Director Ngilosi, Mike Babuyakulu. Let me stand on the protocols that you have articulated right at the beginning. And thank you all for being here. This is an important engagement which speaks to the work that has been going on here. So, Premier, I thank you for being here, and indeed the ministers and deputy ministers here present, and of course my namesake as the Mayor of Ethekwini, the councillors who are here present, and representatives of business and labor, and government officials, and all colleagues who are here. It is indeed a privilege to join all of you once again under the auspices of the Presidential Ethekwini Working Group. I would like to thank Mike Babuyakulu as the co-chair of this working group, as well as Director General in the Presidency, Baleni, and also thank you to the Durban Chamber of Commerce and Industry for inviting us to collectively take stock of the achievements that have been made here, confronting continuing challenges, and today to launch the second phase of our partnership. This has been, in my view, a most meaningful partnership. When I came here 2 years ago, I met with many of you who are in business, and you gave me a rundown of the challenges that this city is facing. We then, there on the spot, decided that we should set up this Presidential Ethekwini Working Group. Now, what you didn't know you were doing was to build a model that we are beginning to transpose to a number of other cities in our country who are facing similar challenges. And we base this model on the other model that we established, which is the district development model. The district development model is a system of getting all partners and stakeholders in a particular area to work together in a very collaborative and cooperative way to address the challenges that beset the area that they are in, particularly our districts. We decided to focus on districts because it is through districts that we are able to give full effect to an intergovernmental government system, but bringing in the private sector, labor, and community-based organizations completes a wonderful picture of the consensus building and the cooperation that defines us as a people living in this country, working together in partnership. So I'd like to thank you all for having enabled us to build this model. We've now transposed it to Johannesburg, and there are a few other metros that are now awaiting a similar model to be established in them. And let me say, without heaping praise on you here in Ethekwini, that the model that you have enabled us to build here has been the most effective. We found you to be the most cooperative bunch of people to work with. It's been very fulfilling, even to me, as I continue getting the reports of the work that is being done here. But in the end, the real witnesses are the people of our country who see Durban as the Mecca of their tourist desires and ambitions. When we first met in early 2024, we were navigating what I would call uncertainty. Confidence was fragile, service delivery challenges were acute, the future of Ethekwini required urgent, coordinated action. You challenged me at the time when we met as business, and we lived up to that challenge. Today we gather in a changing context. After 2 years of the Presidential Ethekwini Working Group, there are real tangible signs that the decline has been arrested, that stability has taken root, and that recovery is definitely underway. The latest findings of the Durban Business Confidence Index tells an important story. Business confidence now stands at the highest level recorded since the index was established. That in itself is a real achievement which you can and must applaud yourselves on, because you have become more confident. And this is the result of strong leadership. Leadership at a political, at an administrative, and at a business level. And all the three spheres of government having come together on a united mission have been producing these wonderful results and achievements. It is the result of the insistence of all of you as social partners that Ethekwini must work. In tourism, we have witnessed a remarkable recovery. I understand that during the recent festive season, Ethekwini welcomed nearly 1.2 million visitors, a significant increase from the previous year. And as we heard, even at the level of pre-COVID numbers, if not better. I'm told that occupancy rates rose to 77%, tourism spend reached 2.7 billion rand. Durban, in many ways, is once again a destination of choice. As I said, you are the tourism mecca of the country. I'm not trying to downplay other areas or cities in our country, but you definitely are the mecca when people want to have a good time, when they want to be swimming in the Indian Ocean. There's no other place they can go to other than here. So you are a choice. In manufacturing, confidence rose by nearly 16% quarter on quarter. This matters deeply in a city that is home to the second largest manufacturing sector in the country and whose prosperity is intrinsically linked to the port of Durban. And I welcome the Ethekwini Metropolitan Municipalities Council approval of the partnerships framework in September 2025. This framework has helped to establish a transparent, a legally compliant system for public-private collaboration on infrastructure as well as on catalytic projects. We have always maintained that water security in the metro is really fundamental to the economic growth that we envisaged for this metro. Critical projects like the Southern Aqueduct upgrade are now under construction. Bulk dam levels remain stable. The structural reform of metro trading services in Ethekwini is advancing. There has been improved coordination during high-risk periods. There's been enhanced CCTV coverage and better integrated safety planning. And I've always said to our security forces, to our police, that let us utilize more and more technology in order to fight crime. And here you are proving to be embracing precisely this type of strategy. Now, these improvements enhance investor confidence, but they also strengthen the rule of law. Transnet has completed repairs to the Umlazi Canal, a critical intervention protecting the South Durban's basin's industrial infrastructure. While we applaud this progress, the stabilization is not the same as transformation. 2/3 of surveyed businesses still believe that service delivery complaints may not be resolved in a reasonable time frame. Environmental management, roads, and water remain areas of concern to all of you. Another area of concern is non-revenue water, which stands at 55%, far above acceptable benchmarks. This represents lost revenue, lost capacity, and lost opportunity. The second phase of the Presidential Ethekwini Working Group will therefore focus on the issues of economic development. Now you are following in the footsteps of what we are also doing at national level. With the Vulindlela process that we started some years ago, we finished the first phase, which achieved phenomenal progress. We're now in the second phase. And through second phases of our various transformation processes, we want to see more focus, more determination, because we're getting into the second phase on the basis of what has been achieved in the first phase. Now, through the partnerships framework, we must unlock infrastructure investment at scale. The Department of Trade, Industry and Competition will need to play a greater role in the working group as we confront challenges such as illegal or illicit trade. Also addressing the challenge of dumping and industrial vulnerability. If Ethekwini is to compete with other metros, we must reduce friction in development planning, accelerate approvals, and reform cost structures that deter investment. And this falls in the realm of ensuring that we reduce the red tape and finally eliminate the red tape so that your businesses can function as effectively as possible. Now, it's always a big temptation in government to put up barriers, to set up red tape mechanisms, not so deliberately, but with a view of trying to manage and monitor. And I'm saying, in order for our economy to really grow, we must eliminate red tape, remove the barriers so that you can run your businesses to a point where we should say, set up your businesses, run your businesses, and our intervention must be when you falter, when you make mistakes, when you transgress the law. That's when we should, but not before doing so. Because all over the world, we're finding that red tape and bureaucracy is the one that holds economies back. Now, a reform agenda in this area will form a central part of our efforts in the second phase. We will seek to identify areas where barriers impede the growth of your businesses. But in this regard, we need cooperation. We need you to point out those areas where there are barriers, where there are impediments, where there are silly rules that we have set up that make the success of your businesses difficult. We need to make sure that we lay out the red carpet and take out the barriers and the bureaucracy. We want to welcome you to do your business rather than impede you from doing your business. Now you should be applauding that and saying thank you for that. Now this for me is an important area and it needs your collaboration. Now I'll tell you how in the Vulindlela process we've worked with the private sector where we invited them to point out precisely the areas where they were facing challenges. And we were able to build consensus on how some of those can be resolved. For instance, we did challenge business. We said, you know very well how the visa problem is impeding your businesses to succeed. Because quite often we found that major corporations invest in our country, but our visa regime prevented, for instance, their CEOs and their key people from coming to manage the investments they had made. And the situation stayed like that for quite a while until we really challenged them and pushed them and said, tell us what the problem is. And some of them would tell us that we made investments of billions of rands, but our CEOs and our key people who should come and monitor and run those investments have to wait for almost 2 to 3 years before they get visas to come and work here, and work visas. We then set out to work and we removed all those barriers. And as a result, we are attracting more and more investment in the country. So it is therefore important for the collaboration to go that deep and to go that detailed, because you are closer to the rock face. You feel it much more than we do. Even on labor matters, we did say to labor, you tell us what your workers are going through so that we can see the extent to which we can be of assistance, so that workers can know that they can commit to their work so that the companies that they work for can progress. Now in this city, as many other cities in our country, you are facing the challenge of derelict and hijacked buildings in the city center, which undermines tourism, which reduces property values and affect investor confidence. Now, so we all know, we're not the first country to face this type of challenge. There are many other countries that have had to face similar challenges. But we need to distinguish ourselves from other countries by making sure that we address this problem. We beautify our cities. We address the challenge of hijacked buildings and make sure that that cancer is gotten rid of. Now, addressing problem buildings is not merely about enforcement. It is also about enabling redevelopment, incentivizing investment, and restoring dignity to the urban core. There are times when I've driven around Durban and I've seen how many buildings have become derelict. And the same thing happens in Johannesburg. And I've raised this issue that let's pay attention to this matter. And we are, because of the apartheid special landscaping that we went through, completely different from other cities. Poorer people were made to live far away from the city, and more wealthy people lived in the city. Now those wealthy people and businesses have left, and they've left a shell. And this gives us an opportunity for redevelopment, an opportunity for investment, and an opportunity to remake our cities, to make our cities much more livable, much more beautiful. There is a city on our continent which is called Addis Ababa. They have remade their city within a short space of time. And we can model ourselves not only on Addis Ababa, but many other cities. Our cities are living spaces. They are places for business, and they are places that are assets to our nation. And we can rebuild our cities, transform our cities, and make them much more friendly for investment and to live in. So our next phase will require capacity. And I'm happy to announce that the National Business Initiative will support the establishment of the Independent Public-Private Partnership Office within the City Manager's Office with technical expertise. One of the challenges that we face, and this is the developmental phase that we are going through as a country and as a nation, the lack of skills. The apartheid system deprived us of developing skills that are well aligned with the developmental trajectory that our country should face. We therefore need to focus on developing real skills and expertise, which will give pride to those people who will work in the area of the transformation process. We will continue to embed the working group's approach within the district development model to ensure that there is sustainability beyond direct presidential oversight. Now, we want the city to be managing itself and not necessarily to be continuing to be overseen by the union buildings. You should, once you have gone through the challenges that you are facing, the union buildings should begin to withdraw so that you can manage your own city as envisaged in our constitutional architecture. We've always understood that partnership must be mutual. Government must create certainty. It must also enforce standards and remove obstacles, as I was saying. Business must invest, but business must also innovate and uphold the highest standards of compliance and social responsibility. All social partners must be ready to play their part. So colleagues, this is a great opportunity. We have achieved a great deal. 2 years ago, Ethekwini stood at a precipice. Today, Ethekwini stands at a threshold. The green shoots are visible in tourism numbers. They are visible in business confidence. Revenue performance and infrastructure projects are underway. But we must not confuse early recovery with guaranteed success. The work ahead requires a great deal of discipline by all of us. It also requires courage, but it also, more than anything else, requires partnership. Now, the extension of the Presidential Ethekwini Working Group, as requested by the social partners, is both a vote of confidence and a recognition that the journey is not yet complete. And together we can move Ethekwini from stabilization to catalytic growth. And together we can project or protect its industrial base and protect it as well and project it to modernize its infrastructure and secure its water future and restore its urban core. And I do believe that together we can ensure that Ethekwini once again stands as the gateway to our continent and as a beacon of resilience, of partnership, and shared prosperity. Now, a few years ago, I stood in Parliament in the State of the Nation address and said, my desire, which is becoming a national desire, is that we should have a fast train from Durban to Johannesburg, from Johannesburg to Messina. Those are the key arteries of economic development in our country. And I flighted that quite strongly with my colleagues in government, and the Department of Transport is now looking at it very closely. They've issued requests for information, and the train, I can see the train's lights beginning to come from Johannesburg to Durban. And that is something that is going to happen. Now, this morning we were launching the statues of two iconic leaders of our country, Oliver Reginald Tambo and Nelson Mandela. Massive statues that have sort of become very controversial. And earlier when I was speaking there, I said, yes, of course, everything that happens in our country is controversial, is debated. People either stand in favor or against. But I also said, the launching of those two statues, the recognition that we are giving to Nelson Mandela and Oliver Tambo, the two gigantic leaders amongst many others that our country has produced, the cost of the statues that stand there, which will become, as the mayor has said, a tourism attraction. The cost is incalculable. The contribution that they have made to the development of our country, to the transformation, cannot be measured in rands and cents. And to have them here in Ethekwini, it's a great boost to your city. But what is a greater boost is what I also announced. I said, we have decided that the summit of SADC, which is going to be held in August, will happen here in Ethekwini. Now, what that means is that you're going to easily have up to 14 heads of states coming here to Durban. And we will arrange that they go and lay their wreaths at those statues, which is a great recognition for Durban. Now, the Director General Baleni said, Mr. President, you can say that as a reward to the work that has been done by the Ethekwini Presidential Working Group. We are rewarding you for the progress that you have made. It's a big thing to host many heads of states who come with huge delegations to come and attend a summit over 3 days or so. And when they come, they don't come empty-handed. They come with money. And they come to buy and they come to stay in your hotels. So it is in August, and you have a good lead time before they arrive. They will be descending here in your beautiful airport. More than 14 big planes will come and land here, and your transportation will gain, your hotels will gain, your food providers will gain, and your arts and crafts should also gain. So that is the reward for the good work that you've been doing. Thank you very much.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we need to applaud this even much, much bigger than what we have done. Thank you very much, Your Excellency, the President.